it was kind of the only thing I could do to make this grief and this new existence that I had into something that felt positive and of value. And so it just sort of lit a fire under me. And I called up Sam and I was like, we have to figure out how to do this. I don't know what else to do in life, but we just have to figure out how to make this.
Action. Stereotypically, that's the word we associate with movies. Big moments, big movement, big spectacle, action. But some of the most powerful films move in a different way. They're driven not by explosions or chase scenes, but by emotional tension, by inner conflict, by the quiet shifts happening beneath the surface. CharlieBird is one of those films. In her feature directorial debut, Libby Ewing skillfully brings a deeply intimate character drama to life. Working from a screenplay by Samantha Smart, who also stars in the film, CharlieBird follows the developing relationship between an art therapist in a pediatric hospital ward and one of her teenage patients. And that patient, played by newcomer Gabriela Ochoa Perez, is a revelation, earning her Best Performance honors from the jury at the 2025 Tribeca Film Festival, where the film also took home the award for Best U.S. Narrative Feature. In this episode, we sit down with director Libby Ewing to talk about guiding this story from script to screen and now into theaters. Our conversation about CharlieBird on Inside the Arthouse, starting now.
Hi, my name's Greg Lumley.
And I'm Raphael Sparge.
And welcome to today's episode of Inside the Arthouse. Today we are joined with filmmaker Libby Ewing. She's here to talk about her film, CharlieBird. Thank you for joining us, Libby.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you guys.
Libby, I'm excited to talk to you for a lot of reasons, but let me just start here and say, I know you're an actress, very substantial actress, and at some point you decided you wanted to begin directing. You have made this film. This is your directorial debut. You have done the impossible. You made the film. You finished the film. You delivered the film. You submitted it to several festivals, got into many really substantial festivals, including Tribeca, where you won the Founders Award for Best Narrative Feature. One of your lead actresses won the Best Actress Award, and you now are rolling out theaters around the country. And you have effectively sort of hit the jackpot from every perspective in terms of kind of what every filmmaker would hope and dream for. You, I know you talked about that Samantha Smart, who stars in the film, who also wrote the script, sort of approached you and said, I want you to do this. You wanted to make a female-centered story. I understand that you said that you were panicked, and I guess, what was the fear? And then what was the pull to do this?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I think the fear, first of all, I'm still like pinching myself because I don't know, not that you hit like a rock bottom or something, but it's just like you get to a point in creativity where you're just like, I'm just going to put it all in. We're just going to put it all in and follow our guts and like follow our taste. And dear God, we hope we have something at the end of this. And we were really successful. And I think the fear for me was when Samantha had approached me with this script. It was in the middle of COVID, and I had begun a writers collective with a few women, many of whom are actors, and we were all sort of working on ideas and writing, and she brought this beautiful idea about music therapist to the group. And especially during that time, we were talking a lot about essential workers and healers that need to heal and having our own experiences with people in our lives and loved ones who are so burnt out. And so I think the panic for me was that I saw it so clearly and I felt so incredibly protective over the story and over the development. And so it's that leap. It's like, what Ira Glass says when he's talking about, like, you know where you want to go, but like, can I meet it? Can I meet the moment and achieve it? And so I think that's where the panic came from. I felt a real sense of obligation to do this story justice and to also not dip too much in the land of sentimental, because I think it's such a delicate, fragile portrait of a woman that it could easily kind of have steered off track in a way. And then the sheer panic of like, you know, like, I'm a working class actor. You know what I mean? Like, where are you going to fund this? How are we going to do this? How does anyone make a movie? Period. It's a miracle. And so now we all talk about how anyone who's made a movie, it's even hard to critique it at some point, because you're like, I see what you're doing, man. And it's so good. And congratulations. So it was a lot. Yeah. But I think this film was touched by many forces, not to get too woo, outside of us. And it kind of steered us into the world.
What was the catalyst, I guess, that got you from, okay, we have a script and this is the film we want to make, and shooting?
Yeah, the catalyst for me was actually quite personal. December 20th, 2023, my father passed away suddenly. And I went home to be with my mother, and I was in Ohio for the whole month of January, sort of dealing and reeling from this new reality I was facing. And I'm sure, like many of us, these sorts of losses in our lives sort of rework our DNA and make us question everything. And because the story is about an artist who heals through music and heals through these creative arts therapists, I just it was kind of the only thing I could do to make this grief and this new existence that I had into something that felt positive and of value. And so it just sort of lit a fire under me. And I called up Sam and I was like, we have to figure out how to do this. I don't know what else to do in life, but we just have to figure out how to make this. And I think that energy kind of, I like to think my dad is in this very much. And he sort of helped usher this into the world. So it's sort of a conversation with him as well. And that's on a very personal level. And I know Samantha, when she wrote the script as well, it was off of a few losses that she had experienced in her own life. And so it just felt like this way that we were kind of able to take this problem and tangibly create something that touched on the questions that we were coming back to as collaborators together.
Yeah, there's the story. Obviously, it takes place in a hospital. It is a music therapist working with in a sort of a cancer ward for children, and we see this interaction between Samantha's character and then a young girl who comes in. She's one of the patients. What did you discover about these folks who do this kind of work? I mean, these sort of healers. What did you discover that you didn't know?
I mean, we did so much research. I was able to shadow a bit. It was like after the throes of the pandemic, so the protections were in place. We obviously couldn't go into certain rooms with people. First of all, this is a profession that I know and I feel and we all know is essential. Art and music can heal us and change us on like a cellular level. And not only that, I realized that these individuals didn't just come in and change the energy of the room and cheer people up and try to connect to kiddos and try to make their day a little bit easier, ease the pain. They often did the work of death doulas. So I went and did some research on that as well. I mean, like, for example, the capturing of the heartbeat is very authentic in our film, because often when these kids are facing their last days, the therapist will gather audio of a raw heartbeat, and then they will save that, create or compose a song that's either the kid's favorite song or something meaningful to the family. And once that child has passed, they give that to the parents as a remembrance for them. So that, and this is the work they do every day. And it's often extraordinarily underfunded. Most of the time it's sort of run in many hospitals like a nonprofit, where they have to raise money for themselves and sort of are wearing so many hats. And these are just some of the most incredible human beings in the world. So I can't even.
I guess how do they not get burned out? And then how do they what drives them? What drives them to do it, I guess. And that's obviously part of what this movie's about, right? What we discover Samantha's character.
And I think you touched on it. I think it is this idea of essential work that is really underfunded and not quite supported. I think larger institutions, I do know, have some support in place, and they'll have like therapy groups. But for our film in particular, it was important for us to show the burnout and to show the experience in a hospital that was a bit underfunded. And I think that's it. I think we're called often to healing work in the most honest and true, beautiful ways. And sometimes it can be confronting, and you realize that there are things within ourselves that we need to heal first before we can offer out to anyone else. And so that was essential to us to capture in this story.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a sense that, my sense from the film was that Samantha's character is doing this work in part because she's not dealing with her own trauma, which is referenced, not quite, we don't know even at the end of the film exactly what it is, but we know that it's there, and we see that, there is, and Charlie senses it as well.
Yeah, and the dynamic, I'm so glad you brought up Charlie, because what really became clear to me is, and I know this in my own life, the kids are all right. You know what I mean? Yeah. They know. And she's actually the one offering the wisdom to everyone around her. And yet she's this young woman, 17 going on 18, that hasn't had agency over her own life and her own body. And she's just gathered this wisdom really naturally and offers it essentially in the end as a gift to Al, to her parents. And so, I'm glad you brought up Charlie, because she sort of rocks her world and is very confronting. But to me, she represents a natural wisdom, I think, that we all have inside of us.
Mm.
So I just want to talk about the actors. What's incredible about what their performances were is that they are so on the bone, and they don't. There's nothing sentimental about it. There's a toughness about both of them, and you hold that despite the fact that it's about as charged as an environment as you can get, which is kids in a cancer ward, right? Yeah. So emotionally, you trusted that was going to do the work be the engine for the story, that you didn't have to essentially sort of frost that. You let that work. But in terms of the kind of this incredible chemistry, which is so key to the movie, right? But between the two of them, if that wasn't there, that you wouldn't. The bird wouldn't have taken flight.
Yeah.
But how did you work with the actors? What was that process? What kind of space did you create for that to happen?
Well, I come to directing by way of acting. Right. You know that, Rob. Quite personally. And so first of all, I have to say, Gabrielle Ochoa Perez, we she was suggested to us through friends to do a financial reading, like just for financiers. And so it was like, we were just going to do a reading of the script and try to raise money. I mean, I worked with her, like we booked a studio in New York. I had her and Sam in a room and it just exploded. I mean, I thought it was going to be the hardest part to cast. And she was it. She was it. She had that wisdom and that gravitas. And so that chemistry was just such a blessing. That's why it does feel like sometimes there are like other forces working on these films and pulling people together.
Little things that have to kind of come together, and they did.
So true. And as far as like my process, I think because I've worked with actors so much, to me, it's like we can have the best set, the best design, the best music, all the fluff. But at the end of the day, if it's not truthful in front of the camera and if I'm not feeling it with you, like what are we doing, you know? And so to me, it's such a sacred part of the process. And I worked with each one of them, but in this way where I would like send them music and they would send it back to me, send them like visuals. I would sort of offer them documentaries that I found. And then I offered myself up to rehearse. We shot in 14 days. There was no rehearsal time. And so it was a lot of trusting, like, I'm going to create the environment that I would want to create, make it really safe on set. I always roll during rehearsals because that's like actually some of the good stuff because they're working really hard to like figure it out. And that to me is like lives in the land of the raw. And they just, I mean, yeah, it was pretty much that. If they needed anything, I know some of them, some of these scenes were really, really difficult to do. And so we would just sort of listen to each other in the room and take a beat. If we needed to like, you know, go down and like sit on the ground and feel something real, we would. So I just tried to take care of them individually as much as they needed. And each actor is very, very different. So I just used my own sort of intuition to tap into what each one needed. And some of them need to be like left alone and they just need to do their thing and like, come on. So,
it's so interesting because it's a movie that does really focus on the relationships and really on the, I guess I just want to say, so the float between the characters in a way. Mm-hmm. You know, I've worked with a lot of directors and you know, sometimes the kind of these directors, right? They're kind of like, okay, we're going to put the camera here, we're going to move the camera there. And it's all about the camera and you being an actress and you know, I'll just mention we were together in this lab, which was for actors, writers, and directors that I ran for about a decade in Los Angeles. That you were a very substantial part of, and so I have such pride and delight about what you've. I mean, it's not words big enough. I just like a big bursting heart for what you've created.
Oh, thank you.
Truly, but. I know you as an actress and how substantial you are as an actress, and then for you to then be able to again, in a way, just hold the space, as you say, just hold the space for the magic to happen, and that they would know that they would have someone as substantial you know, and you would understand likely how to kind of give them the details or the bits or the crumbs that they would need to follow to kind of open the doors for them imaginatively and between them, but you being an actor is, would you say that was an important part of this?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I think it lent itself, I really trusted them. I trusted them and I was able to just really trust my own instincts. So when it was, I had my actor toolkit. So when it was like frustrating or they were like, I'm not sure, I'm not getting it, I would throw them just with all sorts of things, have someone walk in with a secret. I would have someone do the exact opposite choice, like laugh at her right now, laugh at her. And it would just like, because I knew how to like turn the dials and poke the bear, so to speak, in certain scenes. So, yeah, and honestly, like on crew, they were gonna kill me because my face, I'm like acting with them, my face is like this to the monitor, and they were just like, out of there. Can you move, Libby? The rest of the departments need to see the space. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta get it. And then I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Luca Del Pupo, my cinematographer, who's incredible. It was almost like, I found such a partner in him. He was an extension of my brain, and he's such a beautiful feeling person. And we were able to develop this language where he would move without me having to say anything, because he knew it, because he would tap in and he would feel it. And so it was great to see, because I know at the end of the day, he was also depleted like an actor, because he was in every moment and every scene. And sometimes he would send me like a jazz song or like a poem back and forth. So we had this like language back and forth that just felt very much in the community and in the world of artists as actors, as I know it too. So I think that leads itself to the success as a whole, because I surrounded myself with top-notch people.
How did you negotiate with your screenwriter, who was also, the lead actress, in terms of taking off that screenwriter hat and saying, okay, I'm, whatever love I have for the script and the dialogue and everything like that, I now understand that I'm on set and things are going to happen, and the story is no longer mine, really, at some level. Was that hard for her?
Yeah.
Was that hard for you?
It wasn't, no, because I think I was so early on in the development of it. And look, there was only like one instance that it was difficult. And it's such a sweet story that we share. She had written this scene for a little 4-year-old, played by her nephew, who's the cutest little boy, to walk down the hallway and go, why? And she's like, it's essential to me, Libby. It's such a part of the theme. And I'm like, I know. But like, her nephew got on set. We're working with non-actors, and he goes, I don't want to be the why boy. I don't want to be the why boy. And he didn't want to be the why boy. And kids, when they're not going to do something, they're not going to do something. So then, we had such a, we were pretty much very close to the script, like to a T, but I also use a lot of improvisation. So we just let him go with the actress that he was supposed to be with, Shaki, who's so good with kids. And it turned out his improvisation in those scenes were like more profound and more on theme than anything we could have written. And it was so perfect. So I share that with you as an element of like, we were really,
just go with it.
I really tried to honor the script, but then also we trusted the process a lot. And so it was a give and take. And that was a great day. It was a really good day.
It's really sweet. Yeah. The child actors are incredible. And again, when you're dealing with the ferociousness of a 14-day schedule, just the fact, it's like trying to get frogs into a box. It's just incredible what you were able to do.
I had a whole scene, the birthday scene, where we're in the middle of the day, and the moms, it's a lot of great kids who were so excited to be on set. And the moms were like, okay, well, we got to go to camp now. And I lost all the kids because they had camp. And I was like, oh no. Oh, what are we going to do? So we just had to like change angles and like stick people in. It was wild. It was wild and such a good learning experience for me.
Can I go back to your DP for 1 second and just sort of ask you about the 1:1 aspect ratio that you shoot in? So it is a box, and it's not even a 4:3 ratio, which is what you would see on Instagram, for example, which is more rectangular. Mm-hmm. It is a straight up, and it's kind of a radical aspect ratio. It's very much of a portrait in a way, But when did that land? How did you? It's so important to the story, to me anyway, because it does feel it's confined, and everyone just looks beautiful. I don't know how to explain it. That's obviously your DP as well. But what was that? How did you decide to do that? Because it's so surprising.
It is, and I knew it was. Okay. I'll tell you the process. So we we thought we were going to do 4:3:3, and we knew it was going to be a smaller world and contained. And then Luca, when we realized we can't shoot on film because who has the budget for that these days? So we were trying to really think of ways to express this story. And he came up, first of all, we used anamorphic lenses on his Venice, and we turned them vertically. So it elongated the world a bit. And you'll see that in the box. Things are, the flares move vertically, almost like bars. And in our testing process, we had like one day to test before Hurricane Beryl hit. So we took Samantha around and tested. And we had our colorist in Ireland sort of helping us frame. And we had been talking so much about our references were like Robert Adams, at least for like the landscape and the trailers. Petra Collins was a reference I used a lot for when Al and Charlie are together, because she really captures these dreamy, sort of very girlish, feminine, sisterly like vibes. And so Luca was like, what if we did 1-1? Let's like, you know, because we were referencing all these portraits. And so we're like, okay, well, let's film it, and then we'll frame it afterwards and see. And it always came back to story, frankly, for me. So we have a cut 4-3, but then we changed it to 1-1. And to me, Al is a woman who, like you said, is a portrait of a woman. She is boxed in by her own design. She is not seeing any horizons forward, and she's certainly not looking backwards. And so then it applied to actually every single one of these characters. So it felt like a bold choice, but then to me, it just made me lean in, and it supported story so much that I was like, this is... Also, our production team was on board, and they said, Libby, if this is the only thing you ever get to make, if this is the last thing you get to make, what choice would you make? And I said 1-1. And so it stuck. I also had my mom watch it to make sure it wasn't too distracting for her too.
That's good. Yeah. Good to have mom in your corner.
Yeah.
You know, let's watch it. Watch the trailer. This is, I think, a good opportunity. So
Sure.
This is a trailer from CharlieBird, opening in theaters.
Okay, so we're here to have a good time. You don't have to sing, but you can if you want. Well, come along, kids, and listen to my tale.
I really can't thank you enough for everything you've been doing.
I don't do anything, I just play music.
Patient goes by Charlie, 17, been living in and out of hospitals for the majority of the last 4 years. She needs rehabilitative emotional care.
There it is.
Who are you?
I'm Al, I'm the music therapist.
Al. Let's just not and say we did.
Okay, I promise I'm not gonna make you do anything you don't wanna do.
Yeah, well, everyone makes me do things I don't want to do, so.
Night in the city, big house on
So what's your deal?
What?
What's going on up there?
Nothing. You need anything from the store today?
Oh, okay.
Do you think it's okay if I record something? Like, not just on my phone?
A choir teacher told me that our voices make sounds that exist forever.
White girl! Like a wild pack of dogs.
So you two are getting close.
Can you follow protocol?
I am following protocol.
Be careful. It doesn't say anywhere in there. We should become best friends with her.
Have I ever gotten too close? And all of our hairs working together?
I'm afraid we have some news.
No, you promised me you wouldn't make me do anything I didn't want to do.
There are kids in here who will never see the light of day, ever again.
Can't save them all. I've tried.
I am tired of doing this. You don't know what this is like. You have no idea.
Old synesthesia, cradle my soul.
Too bad I'm dying.
Beautiful trailer. I love that. Yeah. And by the way, also kudos. I mean, you mentioned your DP, but kudos to your lighting team, which because the film just glows.
Alex Kent, he's so good. He's like he is stunning. They did bare bones crew, but I have to tell you, they worked some beautiful magic for us. So
And this then just
and to think that you only had a small amount of time to test with them, but the results are just gorgeous.
Thank you so much. I think there is something about being so restricted and just having to make bold choices really quickly. It kind of trims the fat of like, should we do it like this or like this? We became really clear and decisive. And so it kind of was like, does it fit the world? Does it fit the story? And so we went with it. Like a hurricane hit, and it looks like a hurricane hit outside and in Al's house and everything. And I was like, well, it's Texas. Like, that's what it is. So that's the world now, So we just had to go with it. And I was lucky enough to have a team that all of them leaned in,
right,
committed.
Right. Well, it's kind of like that dogma thing, where we're, if we do strip all this away and we say that we're not going to have lighting or all this other stuff, that we can just focus in on the story and what we're trying to say. And look, obviously we don't have to go that far and say, no, we're not going to do any lighting, but, right. We're going to light fast, we're going to light quick, we're not going to, and the actors are then going to appreciate it, I guess, because they can act and not worry about, stopping because somebody needs to,
to like, fix something. It's true. It's such a part of the craft. And Raph, obviously, this, like from working so much, it's like staying present, staying in it, keeping the energy up. And it's like, as a director, being kind of like a mama bear around that, where it's like, no, some good stuff's happening. I don't even care. Like, let's just go.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, for those listeners who are uninitiated, I guess talking about the aspect ratio a little bit, we sort of glossed over it because we all know what we're talking about. But every once in a while, I have to remember that not everybody understands the difference between 4:3 and scope and flat and all those kinds of terminology. But you're right. It is very distinctive to see. I mean, I can't think of a film that I've seen that's 1:1.
That's saying something.
Yep.
Considering how many films you see, Greg.
Yep. And I was really nervous.
And by 1:1, I mean, it basically means it's a square. The historic ratio of 4:3 was almost a square, but it's the golden rectangle kind of thing, and then scope, which elongate. And and for certain stories, it's vital to make those kinds of choices. But here it really did allow you to say, this is what we want you to look at. It's right here.
Yeah. A very like micro view of the world. And it was a bold choice. I do know that.
Was there a film that had inspired that? I mean, did you just pick
it's not something you see out in the world. I mean, I can't even think of, I'm thinking back to taking pictures, on film when we were a kid. You still, it still had some variability generally.
Xavier Dolan. I think he has, what's his film, Mother? I think that one is 1:1 or close to 1:1. That was something we referenced, if I recall. But no, you don't see it.
You don't see it often.
It was just kind of an experiment. Which is really scary for our first film.
We have to put a disclaimer at the beginning of the film. Don't adjust your set. This is
I promise. It's so true. It's so true. And fortunately, now we'll see. It's going to be out in the world, but so far, everyone that has experienced it will either say like, I didn't really notice at first, or I noticed for like the first 5 minutes, and then it kind of washed away. So, but I don't want to plant that seed because everyone is allowed their own experience with it.
Right.
But I actually thought
we got to make a note to the projectionist, of course, because otherwise they're going to say,
it's like, so many
how do I mask it? How do
what? What's happening? Yeah. Are you sure this isn't an error?
The thing that happened for me when I was first watching it, and I've watched it again, I was so happy to see it again because I saw it at Tribeca, but the other department that really needs to be acknowledged is essentially the music and then your mix, which is incredible. Mm-hmm. And the music really carries with the unsentimentality of how it's played and the story and essentially your willingness to not have to explain or kind of let it live in sort of an obliqueness, as it were, on purpose. It's the music that carries the story, or the emotion, as it were, and what happens is that you start, it's like, it's 1-1, and then you've got that gorgeous sort of first kind of a child singing and sort of a melody, and then it goes into it's so talk about the mix, talk about the music, because it's also, again, so skillfully done relative to also it being your first feature.
Thanks. Music was hugely important to us. For me, it's everything. It's the way to communicate emotion without, on a higher plane. It's almost like when words aren't enough, this is it. And Sam had written into the script, Al has an auditory trauma. And so we kind of surrounded, that was like the foundation for it. So really getting in the life of this woman who has this auditory trauma. She has like a tinnitus, whether it's from the event that happened in her past or could also be psychosomatic. You don't know. We're not judging that. That was kind of for Sam to grapple with as the actor. But so creating this world where we started from there, what does that sound like? And then how much music plays a part of her sort of not living in silence too much. And so then when there was silence, building up our sound designer, Cindy, who's amazing, building this world of sort of a heightened sense of the bugs and the environment and how thick it feels. And then John Eckhouse was our composer, and he's incredible. And it was this mix of wanting it to feel real with sounds that we captured in the space with the young actors, with the environment, the bugs, the buzzing, the cicadas, how loud it is. And then he was able to pull in just these beautiful, really simple instruments to layer it in. And it's just, again, it's one of those things. He read the script. He loved it. He saw the cuts. He loved it. He was so moved. And so we just pulled in the right people. And then my music supervisor, Jim Cartwright, I went to college with, and I've always wanted to work with him. I introduced him to Fiona Apple in college, and he said to me years after, he goes, I owe you. And so then I said, I'm calling in the favor, man. I introduced you to Fiona. And so then he sort of, with the ethos of the film, was able to highlight these beautiful unknown bands like Deer Scout. That song is so great. I think they're based out of maybe Chicago, but I think maybe she comes from Pennsylvania, Midwest. They're just stunning. So he hunts around for these great artists that need to be heard. So I was just like so blessed with the people that hooked in and saw it and saw like what we were going for was just a simplicity and an elegance. It couldn't be too much, couldn't be too layered, too manufactured. Again, leaning on not being overly sentimental. And so simple instruments and simple sounds of nature. Yeah. And I will say the singing bowl in the film has been in every single one of the projects that I've ever made. It's in
the sound bowl,
yes,
the gong.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's the real sound, from that. It'll probably, it's like my signature, I think, at this point.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Just to say, I know the film is opening in New York. It's opening in Los Angeles. You are sort of at this moment where essentially you're about to kind of let it kind of let the bird fly. You're gonna, it's going to sort of go out in the world. You've had quite this journey developing this, and now giving birth to it. What does it feel like to have this, be sitting on this moment of it about to be opening nationally in theaters?
I don't know. I don't know if it's hit yet. I am so anxious. Again, like, I know it sounds super like woo-woo and magical, and, you know, I don't want to come off like overly like hippy-dippy about this, but I don't feel like it's mine anymore. And I know the rest of my team feels that way too. We created this thing in such a spirit of community that now, also having gone to festivals and seeing and sharing it with people and seeing the reactions, I am just excited to offer it to other people and just let them have it and take with it, you know, from it what they want. I've been floored by the conversations that have opened up after this and after our Q&As. We've had a lot of medical workers really relate to it as well, and share a lot of stories. Anyone that's gone through this process with someone in their family feels, we've been fortunate enough, like I think they feel seen and understood and feel like they can maybe look at their own experience in a different way. So I just feel like it's ready to be everyone else's now. That's kind of how it feels, yeah.
Right.
Sweet.
Well, it's going to be opening on February 27th, which may be, we may not be out with this episode before that, but again, February 27 in New York and Houston. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to plug the theaters?
Yeah. February 27th at the Angelica, which we're so thrilled. It's such an honor to be there. It's so good. And then in Houston as well, it'll be the AMC Stony Brook. That's not Stony Brook. The AMC there.
Okay.
We can cut this out. AMC in Houston.
And are you going to be able to be in both markets?
I'll be staying
Samantha
here in New York. And then Samantha, she's from Houston. It's her hometown. I mean, she's a hometown hero there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't bring her home with a parade. So if you're in the Houston
as long
area,
as long as you're in a hurricane or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Other kind of storm that hits Houston.
Yes, right.
And then we're opening a week later, March 3rd in Los Angeles. And I believe you're going to be out here for some Q&A. I know we're trying to set that up. And hopefully
Samantha will be there. And then I know that our cast and crew rolls deep. So they really like to show up as well and answer a lot. So I think they're coming out.
And you've got some friends in LA who are going to want to come see you. So
I can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. It's wonderful.
For the rest of the country, where can people get information about where the film is playing?
You can go to Freestyle Digital Media for updates. We will be going streaming starting the 31st of March. On all the things, all the platforms. So Freestyle is the best place to go.
Okay. How about on socials?
Socials, you can follow me, Libby Ewing, on Instagram, and I will update that. We've kept pretty low key about our film. We don't have any socials on it, so also an experiment. And then also any of the filmmakers involved. Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
That's great. Well, Freestyle Digital Media, I believe it's .tv, not .com, but whatever, just type Freestyle Digital Media in their browser and you'll get to their site and have information. I'm sure they will be posting where it's going to be playing. We call it Inside the Art House because we do want people to support their art houses and support the films that they're playing. And I think obviously I feel that, being able to see this movie with an audience and to feel the emotion in the room from that shared experience would be, a very deep and meaningful experience. But however people can find it, we do want them to see the film. That's first and foremost.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Libby, thank you for taking this time. Thanks for talking about your process and how you got here. And again, we're so excited to send you off and let as many people as we know to come see you and come find your film in theaters. So
yes, please. Thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure. We're small but mighty, so it's a little engine that could, and we appreciate your support.
It's great.
Well, like you say in the film, right? Left foot, right foot, left foot. So
right foot, left foot. That's all you can do. Yep, that's all you can do.
Yeah. Again, the film is CharlieBird. It's directed by Libby Ewing, who's been our guest here on Inside the Art House, written and stars and produced by Samantha Smart, coming out via Freestyle Digital Media. Look for it in theaters and wherever you can find truly independent cinema.
Yeah, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider liking, subscribing, and also if you'd like to watch clips from this episode, you can find that at our Clips channel, also on YouTube. And thank you again for joining us today and for supporting Inside the Art House.
This episode of Inside the Art House was produced by Wishing Well Entertainment and Raphael Sparge, with on-site production by Naryn Dickerson. Our supervising producers are Thomas Cassetta and Miles McCreary. The episode was edited by Rick Pratt, with sound mixing by Thomas Cassetta. Our musical theme was composed by Isabel Engman and Gerardo Garcia Jr., graphics by Jenna DeAngelis, and social media marketing and web design by Stephanie Peters. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing. See you next time on Inside the Art House.